Happy Tuesday, everybody. Today is July 20th, 2021, and today's podcast guest is my good buddy and coworker, Keegan Zeimer. All right, welcome to the Fall Podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Blasey, and today's episode is 170, and today's podcast is a good one. And the reason being it's a good one is because we kind of get into some things that we haven't really talked about much before. I'm not really going to get into it in this intro. I just want you guys to hear it first and foremost. I kind of want it to be like a little secret, I guess, but you guys get into it. And the conversation, honestly, when Keegan and I sat down to talk about like different bullet points and what we wanted to talk about, we didn't talk about them. We started talking about one thing, and the conversation got so good that it was just like, let's just keep going down this train, and that's what we did. Basically, what Keegan and I did, we did a day on my 1 acre farm where we did some trail cam stuff. We went out and cut some shooting lanes, and then we did some tree stand maintenance, which was a good thing because I had a squirrel chewed through one of my stands, the straps, and it's been in the tree for about 4 years now, and I didn't know that he had chewed through it. I knew the stand it needed to be reset because I knew the tree was like growing into the straps and everything. So while he was here, we were doing some filming and everything. I almost like took a tumble out of this tree. Thank God I had my harness on and everything, and trying to do everything the safe way and the right way. But that's one thing that we do get into today is tree stand maintenance and why you should be really safe about that kind of stuff. Because, you know, I know some people that have fallen from tree stands and it's not good. They hunt differently now because some of them are paralyzed, and I do not want that for anybody. So definitely check out your tree stands every year. Make sure everything is up to snuff and dialed in. So that's my little public service announcement, I guess, to start this off. I'm going to get over to this interview with Keegan, and hopefully everybody's summer plans are going as planned. I guess real quick, though, I do have a crop of bucks that are looking pretty solid right now here in Michigan that I cannot wait to start chasing after and telling you guys about. So just going to leave it there. Here's this interview with Keegan, and hopefully everybody enjoys it. All right, welcome back to the Fall Podcast, and today's guest is here sitting next to me, my good buddy and coworker, Keegan Zeimer. Keegan, welcome back to the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me on again.
Hey,
it's always nice to be back. That I know, anytime could be the last time. So.
No problem, pal. No problem. Today's podcast is we don't know where it's gonna go yet. No. I wrote down some questions that Keegan has no idea what they are. Nothing that's gonna be too on the spot for him. Okay. But if you guys have been listening to the podcast, I'm pretty sure we did a podcast explaining where you came from. Like, you're from Wisconsin, you moved to Denver to work for Cabela's, and then you moved to Michigan to work for us, and that's where you're at now.
Yep.
So, like, born and raised in Wisconsin. Now You've been here. How long have you been in Michigan living?
It'll be 3 years.
3 years?
This November.
This will be your third fall.
It might be 4.
I think it's 4, isn't it?
I think so.
So this will be your 4th fall.
That can't be right.
17 was the first year?
I don't know. 3 or 4 years.
Okay. We'll leave it as that. Oh, this will be kind of a back and forth podcast, I think. Mm-hmm. But we were together today. We went out and hung out on the 1 acre. We did a whole bunch of work. Actually just recorded a podcast for the Humanimal podcast talking about that. So if you guys want to go check out the Humanimal podcast, you can go check that out and see what we did today. And we talk about everything that we did.
And the 1 acre.
And the 1 acre. The 1 acre story that we got going on.
How good it's looking.
It's looking phenomenal. Unbelievable.
Looks like a
really
bouquet
good.
of flowers.
It does.
Thick and beautiful.
Thick junglist flowers. Yeah, so there's some things that actually I don't feel like I've asked you that I just rattled up in my head here that I want to get out there.
Okay. If any of them are about Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, I don't want to talk about it.
Well, Keegan is a part owner into the Packers, so
Yep.
I know you're pretty salty about the whole Aaron Rodgers deal. We won't get into that.
Okay, good.
Because Aaron Rodgers basically will not play for the Packers this year, in my opinion, which is a good thing for the Lions. So, but actually the Lions have had the Packers number for the last couple of years, so I don't even know what I'm worried about.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we get back on track if he's not playing.
Yeah, Jordan Love, here we go.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not here to talk about the Packers and the Lions. So,
right.
I guess the first question I have for you is I'm going to throw you a softball here. Just a wicked 12-foot arc, slow pitch,
Okay.
men's league, beer league, whatever you want to call it. It's like a two-parter.
Sure.
What kind of whitetail hunter are you?
What kind of
And then I will follow it up with another question.
Okay. Wow, what kind of whitetail hunter am I? I think I've probably evolved in that.
Well, the reason, let me preempt here why I'm asking this, because you've been bitten really hard by the elk bug.
Yeah.
And whitetail hunting has kind of taken a back burner.
Yeah.
I mean, you still do it.
Yeah.
But I would say from afar, seeing you and talking to you every day, elk hunting is your passion right now. It's like you and I are Western hunting.
Yeah.
You and I are like exact opposites in that aspect of like.
Yep.
I mean, I eventually want to go on an elk hunt, but it really hasn't bit me to where I'm like, I need to go yet. Like, I'm still like full bore whitetail. So that's why I ask you, like, what kind of whitetail hunter are you now?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're 100% right. The Western bug has bitten me. Right now, I guess I'd have to say I'm a pretty passive whitetail hunter. Like, I'm an opportunist. When there's opportunity to do it, I'm going to do it. I still love the work that goes into it.
Yep.
Like, I wouldn't come and help you here if I didn't enjoy, property management and cutting shooting lanes, putting up stands and food plots and doing all that stuff. Like, I've always enjoyed that. So that's one of the things when I did live out in Colorado that I really missed, because you don't do that when it's public land, whatever. So I always traveled home, would help my mom with that. Like, after moving back here, I mean, you helped me right away. I established a food plot behind my house.
Yep.
Live on little, like, 10 acres of woods. And
you own 10 acres.
Yeah, there's this little meadow area with pines and whatever kind of CRP that, between you and Lee with tractor and whatever I could do too, we turned into a food plot. And it's been I haven't shot a deer out of the food plot, but it's been pretty successful in bringing deer in. So I would say that I still enjoy doing all of that stuff. And I think part of where you're coming from, and also for me, is like, and I don't mean to poo-poo on Michigan at all, is like, I've lived in where I am now for 2 or 3 years and been running cameras, and I've yet to get a picture of like a good solid buck. So but for me,
we pull a trail cam today, and
and you have 7 of them
like, in one video.
I know. So yeah, I mean, I guess some of it probably is just like, I haven't had a ton of opportunity in the past couple years. I would even go as far as to say, as soon as I moved to Colorado, my opportunity to hunt for whitetail fell off the face of the earth.
Okay.
If I traveled home to Wisconsin, it was for a weekend or
a holiday,
a long weekend, or like I would go home for gun season every year. I love gun season. I don't love gun hunting for gun season, but similar to here, it's like, it's a huge deal in Wisconsin.
It's a camaraderie deal. It's just like get together with people you haven't seen in a while, and have a couple beers, play some cards. And,
I mean, go home. That's when I know for sure I'm going to see my mom, I'm going to see my brother, I'm going to see a couple of my buddies. My best friend from high school, hunts with me every single year, and we all get together and go see family at different hunting cabins the night before, and it's just like, it's a big deal.
Yep.
I haven't shot a buck. Now, even with all that, like I refuse, and this is my personal, like a personal thing for me, but I shot a few 2.5, maybe 3.5-year-olds, in high school, early on in college, and then kind of got to the point where I'm like, I want to take that next step.
Yep.
And so I've passed a good fair amount of the 2.5, looking to get bigger than that. But I haven't shot a deer during gun season in probably over 10 years. And that's
since Kansas.
Since Kansas, yeah.
So that was
since Casper.
2019. Kill 160-inch deer.
Okay. Minus Casper, that's a whole different thing. In Wisconsin, I haven't seen a deer with a gun in my hand that I'm like, oh, I don't want to shoot that deer.
Right.
So, part of it where coming home for a weekend, you're kind of hoping to get lucky. Same thing. I just haven't seen, to be honest, I haven't been in a situation in a bow stand, where my heart has been pumping for a buck. I don't even know how long it's been. It's been over 10 years. So,
like you said, you're more of like an opportunist bow hunter right now, because in the way that I'm taking it is, you just really haven't had that opportunity to set roots. I mean, you have roots here in Michigan, but like you said, your property, you have 10 acres in kind of a lesser area, in my opinion.
Right.
Like, you're kind of surrounded by houses and,
yep.
You can hunt state land. You have hunted some state land, and we'll get into that in a little bit also. But so I guess with that being said, what kind of whitetail hunter do you want to be? When you sit there and think about it,
yeah,
what do you, in a perfect world, what do you want to be?
Yeah, in a perfect world where I can put the time in, and this sounds bad too, but everybody produces better when they have incentives, right?
Yep.
No matter what it is in life, if you have an incentive, for most people, you work harder and you're like, oh, I'm going to achieve this because
100%.
I get that. I haven't, at least, where I've been able to hunt. And again, I know that there's public land, there's whatever, but you've talked about it on here before too, just the opportunity sometimes to go and get out in the woods is not probably what people who, think about what we do for a living would expect.
Right.
I've, been behind a camera and seen some awesome deer and been on some awesome hunts and whatnot with you guys. But I think where I would like to be is to come across a deer on my property or the property behind me that I have permission on. That gets me excited because I know that once that happens, there's going to be a switch that flips.
Yep.
Where we're in proximity. I have an opportunity.
You have an incentive to go.
I have an incentive. Now, how do I get that done? How do I figure that deer out? How do I do that? So even right now, and where I say I'm an opportunist, I still run trail cameras. I'm still doing the food plots. I still go sit. I still I like to take people out with me if I can and introduce them, because that brings me a lot of, I love
joy,
doing that. It brings me a lot of joy and happiness. And if I'm not seeing giant deer or whatever, I don't care. I bring Christy out with me all the time. I enjoy sitting out there, enjoy being out there.
Yep.
But if that incentive all of a sudden shows up and then it becomes a game, ultimately that's where I would like to be when it comes to whitetail. You have the 1 acre, you told me today, you're like, this is this deer, this is this deer, this is this deer, where you have some history and you have incentive. I want that. I just, currently don't have it. And I would like to be at that point. But I think it was Casey the other day who said, to shoot big deer, you have to have big deer.
Yep.
So some of that you can't control, which is fine. But to that same point, I'm not going to lower my standard, or I'm not going to shoot a smaller deer on my property where I live right now just to shoot a deer. I'll shoot a doe. I did that last year.
Yep.
That was my shouldn't say first. It was my the first whitetail that I've shot with a bow in probably 6 years, just for the same reason. We were talking a bit ago too about, you always say you're going to shoot a doe early on in the season, and then it never happens.
Yep.
That's kind of been the same for me. But last year I was like, man, I just need to do it. I haven't been in that situation for a while. I've obviously been in it with a couple bull elk now. And like you said, slowing down the situation sometimes
It's tough.
is freaking tough, especially for something for me. Like I said, I have that bug and I feel like I black out when it comes to that. And so I wanted, like last year when I got in a tree stand, it was October or November, I believe it was, and it was after elk season. Granted, I didn't have an opportunity last year, but had a doe that was coming through, wasn't going to shoot her, and then she just took her sweet time, and I'm like, let's just get back on the board and
Let's roll.
And let's build a little confidence.
Yep.
I need meat anyway. So super long-winded way of answering that. I am passive. I need something to, like, I need the chase, right? I need that to
you need
start.
something to incentivize you. I don't even know if that's the right word for it, but you need something that you know is there and you want to go after it.
Yep.
It's like, and I've been on your 10 acres, and I think it could be something. It would take some work, like we talked about doing with the 1 acre. It's kind of that same, like, it's really mature timber. You do have houses around you, not a ton of them, but, like, if we went in there with a chainsaw and made, knocked some trees down and made some cover, like, I think even that alone, I'm not saying go knock down 3 trees. I'm saying go, like, let's go knock some trees down and, like, make some diverse edge. And there's no edge in there. There's no, it's monotonous timber that, like, the deer, you're basically have to catch a hot doe, working through early when it's got, we might have the biggest deer in the area on them. So, yeah, I could definitely see that. You just said something, and now I can't remember where I was going with it. You said something about, oh man, now I can't remember.
Well, maybe to get you to remember, I would say too, like, throughout the season, my mom will send me pictures of bucks.
Your mom's a diehard bow hunter.
Oh yeah, like she's probably more into whitetail hunting right now than I am, and actually she certainly is. But she'll send me pictures, and those get me fired up, because then it's like, well, next time I go home, same thing, incentive, right?
Yep.
At least it's out there. It's
right. Yes.
I think for anything, whatever you do, you could be fishing, you could be whatever, and it's like, I think about when my brother and I were little and we were ice fishing. My dad had the camera that goes underwater, the AquaView, and it's like, I think he probably just brought that so we could
keep you guys invested,
keep us invested, and like, oh, there's fish down there, you know, because otherwise it's like, you go ice fishing, nothing's biting.
And me being a dad, I would have done the same thing.
Yeah, right? Because then at least the kids are watching. So for me, it's like, yeah, I want to, I guess, be in the game again and chase a deer and target a deer, because I don't like to lose. And if I latch on, I mean, my personality, like if I latch onto something, usually I'm going to do it. And so.
No, that makes total sense. God, it didn't jog my memory, but I guess it is what it is. Yeah, I just had a brain fart. I don't know. Damn it. But anyway, so we kind of hit on the, what kind of whitetail hunter you are and what you want to be, so, we live in Michigan now, and there are big deer here.
Yes.
Relatively. Like, it's kind of hard to explain. If, you go to Iowa, Illinois, Kansas, like, if you were to ask me what's a big deer to you out there, 150-inch deer is a big deer out there to me. Yeah. You ask me what a big deer here is for me here in Michigan is 120-inch deer, 130-inch deer. That's a big deer to me.
Yep.
Oh, I know what I wanted to say.
Sure.
So, like, you had talked about, I'm going to come back to this, what I just said, but you had talked about, the blackout stage. You haven't had that feeling in a tree. It made me think of something. I've killed some good bucks out of state. I've killed some good bucks here in Michigan. I've screwed up on good bucks in Michigan in recent years. For some reason, I don't know what it is, when I am out of state and the caliber of deer is bigger and the deer I've killed are bigger, I am more calm.
That's interesting.
I don't know why. And I come back here to Michigan, and I have last year that deer, Tynes Worth, probably 115-inch deer.
Yep.
You know, a big, tall, tight 9-point.
Yep.
I was freaking out. Okay. And I ended up whiffing the shot. Back in 2007 or 18, it was 18, I think, when I had Jim Abbott. Jim Abbott was one good side, and the other side was a spike. You know, he was just kind of a shit rack deer. A lot of the neighbors passed him up because they were like, he's not a cool deer. But if he would have had both sides, he'd have been a Pope young deer. Mm-hmm. When I shot him, I rushed it, hit a high. I was shitting razor blades.
Yep.
Like I was just, I don't know why I get that way here. Mm-hmm. And the only thing I can probably point it to is that, like, I've grown up here my whole life. You know, the biggest deer I've ever killed here in Michigan, if you want to go score-wise, is a 126-inch 8-pointer. Okay?
That's nice.
Yeah, it's a good deer, you know? And it doesn't happen every year.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I say it all the time. You work up to that one opportunity a year. You're going to get one opportunity. If you get two, then you've worked your butt off, and like you've been lucky this year. Mm-hmm. But the one opportunity, that's what you're working for. And I feel like it just culminates to, like, there's a Rolodex that goes around your head when he's walking, and it's like, how much work have you done? And it just goes through, you know, like goes back to like the springtime when you're shed hunting or you're frost seeding and, you know, you're hinge cutting in the winter and putting cameras out in the summer and you're scouting, and it's like, you know, it's just going. And it's like, I got to make this happen. I got to make it happen. You know, and it's just like, screw it up. You know, that's where I need to slow the situation down. Out of state, I haven't had, knock on wood, please, I hope I don't have an issue. Yeah. But, like, for some odd reason, the caliber deer are better, and I'm calmer. Yeah. I don't know why.
No, I think a lot of it is that lead up and the anticipation, right? Like, where I've had that on 3 different bulls, same thing. It's not that I black out, but it's slowing down the moment leading up to it that I haven't done well. And I think it's exactly what you're talking about, because in each of those situations, it's been, you know, day 4 or 5 or whatever. Day 3, 4, 5. It's never the first day or whatever. So you're already out there and you have, again, your lead up. Here it's frost seeding or, you know, doing all the things that you need to do to get to that process. And then all of them so far have been chasing, like, following a herd, you know, whatever. And like the most recent one was, you know, chasing bugles for over an hour, just feeling like you were right there. And then all of a sudden, I'll never forget it. It was with David's brother. We got down into this little valley where there was a creek coming through, and it rolled up onto a pine knob on the other side, and he was screaming, like, this whole time, like I said, just screaming, and we're like ducked down in there, and it's like, he's got to be here, and all of a sudden he screamed and just like crested the hill and was like looking down on us. So majestic, and we're like, okay, and then he turned, and his brother's just like, go, and I start like just running up the hill. And all of a sudden, I get to the top of the hill and just hear feet just stomping on the ground. And I look, and the cow whirled, and she took off. And the bull thought we were another bull, and he was to my right. And I'm like under a pine tree, and he's 15 yards away, walking, you know, on the other side of these pine trees. And I'm like, okay, this is gonna happen, and this is gonna happen. I draw, and he had to clear a branch or a tree out there, 30 yards maybe. And it was just like, I knew what I needed to do, but again, I didn't stop. I didn't range. I guessed the tree. I drew back. I waited. As soon as he cleared the tree, didn't stop him, shot, and never found him. Mm-hmm. Same thing. It's just like, you know, being more in control and trying to get yourself in your own brain and in your own mind and slow that entire thing down, I think, is a product of exactly what you're talking about. And it's the lead up to everything, because you're like, well, I worked my ass off and now I need to execute, but you're not doing the things that you practice doing when you're shooting in the backyard that you, like, you know, you need to do.
Well, and I think something now that we're kind of talking this through, this is the first time I've ever really had this conversation like this, but now that we're talking this through, like, that is part of it, but I think I get too emotionally attached to a deer.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
okay, so the big 6, I had him last year. I wanted to kill him last year.
Mm-hmm.
Had an encounter with him at 80 yards one morning. Didn't get an opportunity. Had pictures of him all summer.
Yep.
You know, saw him a lot from the stand.
Mm-hmm.
Just never could get him close enough. He shows up now, and I mean, you've seen how big he is. He's big. You know, and I think he's probably a 4-year-old.
Yep.
Like, I'd bet a lot of money on this year that he's a 4-year-old.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I'm starting to feel that emotional attachment. Like that's my deer. And I hate that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not that it's my deer, but it's like, I would never say that. Like, it's not that it's my deer. It's just like, I want it like your incentives. It's an incentive. I want him so bad that when I do get that opportunity, I'm probably going to turn to a ball of mush.
Yeah.
And everything's going to go out the window.
Yep.
You know, and it's like, I look back at the deer on the wall. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That deer right there on the right, I knew about that deer. He was a Michigan deer. He was a 118-inch deer. I actually shot him with my bow. I knew about him from that summer, filmed him. But when I saw him that morning or that night, I was sitting in the tree. He came in so quiet. I heard a twig snap. He's already underneath me, right underneath my tree.
Yep.
I looked down. I'm like, holy shit, it's him. And he runs out. He kind of knew. He had like a sixth sense. He's like, man, something's not right. You could just tell. He runs out like 10 yards. He worked right into the pocket like that I needed. And he kind of looped at 18 yards. He stopped himself. He was calm. I mean, double lung. He ran 150 yards maybe, piled up. Like, it was complete pass-through. Unbelievable. This deer right here, this is my biggest Michigan deer. I never knew anything about that deer. I'm sitting there, all of a sudden, I look over here, he's come running through the timber. I had enough time to stop him and shoot him. Like, it was just, you know, dropped him right there, you know. That deer right there, Missouri deer, he's just over Pope and Young. That deer, never knew anything about that deer.
Yep.
You know, I was hunting a different deer, and that deer showed up, and I loved him. Double lung, he ran 60 yards piled up with a bow. That deer right there, I knew that deer from the day before. That's a Missouri deer. You know, he showed up again, and I'm like, did not expect to see him right there. Yep. And he came to like 22 yards, shot him, double lung. He ran 6 yards with a bow. Yeah. And then
that's crazy.
Another Missouri deer I had, rattled him in, blind rattle, never knew he was there. Come to 32 yards, shot him, double lung, done. That Kansas buck right there, you know, never knew anything about that deer. We get in the stand, we're there 6 minutes, he walks underneath me, I shoot him, you know? Yeah. And it's like, I go back to like Jim Abbott. I knew about that deer for 3 years in Michigan.
Watching him the whole year.
You know, he comes through, walking, never knew I was in the world, 32 yards. He was coming through my last hole. I stopped him. And I put it on him, hit him high shoulder. Mm-hmm. You know, he lived the rest of that year, got hit by a car. Tynes Ward, you know, same thing. Like, that deer, he just tickled my fancy. I knew about him in the summer. Yeah. Tons of pictures of him. Figured I knew where he was living. Saw him like 4 times from the truck. And I'm like, oh, I got to go in. Went in that night, missed him. It was a long shot. 46 yards. Yep. I stopped him when he had no care in the world. He ducked my arrow, whatever. I mean, I've got every excuse in the book. I'll tell you them all. You know? Yeah. And it's like, I need to get over that barrier, that emotionally attached barrier. Yeah. That, like, almost throws another
element in it.
Yeah. And that doesn't need to be in it.
Right. And kind of what you just described too is you're going around to these deer too. One theme that I noticed, and I think again it applies, and it's just in the end it's being better, right? It's being more disciplined, whatever, but is like most of these deer that you described were in there and you didn't have time. It was like, okay,
Hambino was the same way.
I need to make this happen right now. You know what I mean? You didn't have a lead up. You didn't watch him come from across the field from 200 yards away where you get yourself psyched up and whatever that is. And again, it's like you said, it's an excuse, but you know, 2 of the 3 bulls that I've shot, wounded, haven't found the one the next year, whatever, have been like chase, 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 chase.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden,
you're almost like getting emotionally attached. Then,
yeah,
you know.
it's just, it's granted, I may not have seen them until the moment of. You're like, yeah, the whole time you're like, okay, I've been chasing this for so long now. Like, this needs to happen. Whereas, like you just described all these here, it's like twig snap, deer's there. Well, now it's muscle memory. It's what have I been doing?
You're
all
playing
summer?
the hot corner, and you just got a BB hit at you. You know what I mean?
You react.
You
You freaking grab your bow. You get ready. You draw back. You do what you have been training for the entire year, and you have no I mean, at that point, even if it is a deer that Hambino, right? You knew about that deer from a couple days ago, but all of a sudden, Casey goes, he's right here.
17 yards.
You pick up your bow and you go. You know what I mean? Like,
well, even my Kansas buck last year with the gun.
Mm-hmm.
Wilson, he was like, Lee and I were sitting there. I literally looked to my right, and here comes a doe running, and he's on her tail.
Mm-hmm.
And I had just enough time to go, Lee, shoot her. He grabbed the camera. I grabbed the gun. Before I even had the gun up on him, I yelled out the blind to get him to stop.
Yep.
I knew it was a big deer. Didn't know who it was.
Yep.
Knew it was a big deer. Put it on him. I mean, what was it? 290. Was it 290 or 390?
I think 290.
I think it was 290.
Yeah.
Put it right on him. Doosh, right through the breadbasket.
Yep.
And he ran 40 yards and piled up.
Yep.
Same thing. It's like,
yeah.
man.
Yeah. I think you just don't let your mind get in the way when it's like super boom, boom.
Right.
You got to make a snap reaction. And that's almost better. And kind of how I hope it happens. Next time I have an opportunity, whether it's a bull or a buck or whatever, because I say that, but at the same time, I need to work on that. I need to get better at that. Sounds like you do too. It's like, how do you practice other than being in that situation? So it's just, if I have to watch a deer or a bull or whatever come this year, I just need to tell myself, calm down, breathe, do what you have been working at the entire summer while you're shooting your bow or you're working out or whatever it is. Like, you're ready for this. It's time to execute.
And I feel like, for me anyway, and I would guess a lot of listeners out there listening to this would probably agree, like, when I get into the fall, I feel like it goes by so fast.
So fast.
You know what I mean? I always feel like I'm in a rush.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, I need to be in my stand at, let's just say, 3 o'clock.
Yep.
Okay.
I need to leave by.
Well, you feel like let's say it's a 15-minute drive, but you're leaving at noon, and you're feeling like you're rushed, and you have so much time in the world.
Yep.
It's like, I always feel like I'm rushed.
Yep.
And it's, even when I feel like when I get to the stand and get everything set up and you sit down, you're like, I always feel like my head's still going. Like, it's still, just slow down. Like, I need to learn how to slow everything down. Not even from the shot execution, just like decision making. Like, it's so like, oh, I gotta go. Like, oh, like we gotta go.
Yeah.
Like, just slow down. I wish I had more like patience.
Yeah.
And like, I always tell myself I'm a passive hunter, that I have patience. I'm not aggressive enough, which I think is true, but I always feel like I'm rushing though. It's kind of weird.
No, it's so true. Because even, like you said, you get in the stand and then you wait, but in the meantime, you're wanting golden hour to get there, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I need it to get here. And then it's here. And it's like, okay, now something needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And yet the whole time you're waiting. Something needs to happen. Like, yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, it's something that I definitely want to work on for sure, is like just that slow the moment down. And I thought I had it figured out, and I think I do. It's just, like I said, out of state, like just for some reason it just, but I need to slow the whole moment down and just do better.
Yeah.
Just be better.
No, that's where I'm at. Just be better. Do what you do what you practice, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But easier said than done. Just keep working.
Yeah, I agree. I'm reading some questions here. I'm trying to figure out where I want to go next with this, because I didn't expect to get into the emotionally attached thing. I just thought it was a good conversation, and
I think a lot of people
will relate to that.
Will relate to that.
Yeah.
Because it's if you don't have that feeling, granted, people are better at managing it than I am, and probably you are too. Everybody's at a different level when it comes to that. If you don't feel that, you probably shouldn't be hunting. So.
I agree. I agree 100%. I guess the next thing I want to go to is mobile hunting. It's a big topic. I started talking about it a lot last year. It's something that I've really tried to like adopt. I said adapt like a couple podcasts ago again about this, I think. Adopt. Yeah, anyway, mobile hunting, because you and I were just kind of going, my mobile setup's right there behind you, and you were talking to me about that. And that's something that you want to get into as well. So, like, where is your mobile hunting career at? I don't even want to call it career, but what stage are you at? Like, what kind of mobile hunter are you? What kind of, is it set stand? I know you set a lot of set stands, but like.
Yeah. I haven't done a ton of it. When I was in high school, I got a climbing tree stand.
Yeah.
So that's been probably the extent. I have I don't even know what you'd call it, a fanny pack type thing with a cross in the back where it's almost like suspenders that go over the top.
Okay.
That's set up for mobile hunting and using that. So it's got, bow hanger.
I've never heard of that.
A bow hanger. What do you mean?
A fanny pack?
Well, it's like
I've
almost
heard of
like
a fanny pack.
Yeah, it's almost like a belt that goes around where it's got stuff on the sides. It's like a hanger harness, but a belt that goes around with suspenders that come over the top.
So it's almost like a tool belt?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly like that. But it's a camo. I guess I don't know what else to call it.
Okay.
It's got zippers and
Yep.
whatever, and I have that set up where it's got a bow rope, screw in bow hook, everything like that I would need for that.
Yep.
I used it a little bit just I think out of like, I have a mobile climbing stand, and I use that in Wisconsin a little bit, even on the property. If it was like, I want to go try out this new area, like down the ridge, I've never sat down there before, so I'm gonna grab the climber instead of going down there, setting a stand, coming back tonight. Grab the climber, go down and check out a new area.
Yep.
So I've done that a fair amount in college.
So wait a second, you can sit in this little harness deal that you have?
No.
Okay.
It's just, I guess what I'm saying
just
is
for like accessories.
Accessory,
okay.
Yeah. It's got my bow rope. It's got whatever.
Yep.
I wear it while I'm climbing up.
Sure.
I get up in the stand and I put it on a hook. Instead of a backpack, it's just,
gotcha.
It's a mobile.
Who makes this?
I think it's like an old Gander Mountain thing.
So they probably don't even make them anymore. It sounds kind of intriguing.
I'll send you a picture. I'm sure somebody makes it's a lot like that Kafar that you just got, except it goes all the way around and it's got pockets and everything on the sides. So
I'll tell you what, that Kafaru I got could be the best backpack.
Yeah.
So I'm a big, I don't know, what do you call it? Like it's not
a lumber.
It's like a lumber pack. Lumbar pack maybe.
Yeah.
It's the Hellcat. It's if I remember right, it's 1,500 cubic. This thing, for the lack of a better word, is fucking badass. This thing, and so I'm a big lumbar pack guy. Like I don't use typically. I mean, I have a Tenzing that's like a day pack.
Yep.
I'll use it every once in a while, but the only reason why I don't like using it is because you put it on. It's like a school backpack. You know what I mean? But it's a day pack, good pockets and everything. But the only the biggest downfall of it is like when you walk to the stand, you sweat a little bit and you feel like you have sweat up your back all the time.
Yep.
So I've been using another Tenzing, the Tenzing 1250. I think it's called the 1250 or something like that. It's a lumbar. I've been using it for 6 years. Okay, and been using it for filming, hunting, everything. It was my versatile pack. It's been a great pack. It blew out on me this last fall, and I'm like, I need a new one. Well, Kafara came out with this Hellcat, and mother of Mary, is this thing the cat's ass. This thing, I mean, you basically got to take out a house loan for it. I'm not gonna lie to you. Well, actually, it was like $270.
Yeah,
it's a lot of money, but it's a lifetime warranty on them.
Yep.
This thing is going to be perfect for filming, day pack, hunting, doesn't matter. I just like sit it in the corner of the room and just look at it, kind of thing, because it's so comfortable. It's padded. And
it just feels nice.
It does.
And for people who don't know what Kifaru is, like, look at them. Like Aaron said, you're gonna have to take out a second mortgage, but made in America. That's also
all made in America. Yep.
Hand sewn in America. All their components are from here. The company's super badass too. They're actually out of Colorado, and their customer service, like, whether you go on Instagram, Facebook, whatever, if you have an issue, the owner is putting his cell phone number out there for you.
Aaron Snyder.
Yeah. To be like, call me, we'll figure it out.
Yep.
So.
And Keegan turned me on to it, and he's got a couple Kifarus. Casey uses Kifaru. Lee does. I think Adam might have one now too.
One, yeah.
But like,
they're modular systems, which is really cool too. And what that is like
the Molly loops.
Molly loops, and stuff where you can change this pouch onto your other one, and
Yeah, so this Hellcat has like a big pouch, and then it's got 2 side pouches, and it's got a belt that goes around, and it's got Molly loops all over it. So you can customize it with shoulder straps. Yep. And it's not just like a fanny pack, it's got shoulder straps also. But it's comfortable, it like contours my body good. I just can't wait to use it. I think it's going to be dynamite, but I don't even know where we're going with this whole thing.
That's kind of how my lumbar pack that you're so interested in. But to continue on the mobile thing, I did a little bit of it when I was in college, not near enough. Looking back on it, I went to school in La Crosse, Mississippi Valley, in the Bluffs, and that is one of the biggest regrets of mine is not doing a lot more public land hunting while I was there. I was in the Bluffs. Like, there's huge deer there.
The history of Wisconsin, and to me, like, when I think of Wisconsin, Buffalo County, Bluffs, hills, like,
I was in all that. But like we've talked about before, not on your podcast, I think, around from 2010 to 2014, public land was not what it is now.
No.
And it's like, I have private land, even though it's a 3-hour drive. I'm going home this weekend, and I'm going to hunt at home and whatever. I regret that. But I guess since then, just looking at some of the stuff with you, you're a little bit further ahead than I am on my mobile hunting journey. It's just, cutting weight and looking at things, whether it's a harness, I'd like to at least try one just to see if it's comfortable, how I like it.
Yep.
Because it seems like you eliminate a product or something in there, because you're already wearing a safety strap. So if you can just wear that anyway and then be hanging in the tree, but who knows, it might be uncomfortable. I don't know. So for me, it's just been, I'm in a heavy research phase right now.
I am too.
And tinkering and, you were showing me your sticks and, mods that you're making to them to make them lighter and no buckles so they don't clank. And, and that's where I am too, is just like, okay, I want to get a setup that I'm really confident in, and, it straps to my pack or whatever, and I'm dialed, because if you are going to do that, you're walking in the morning, headlamp, whatever, and it's probably dark, and you don't know where you're going, and then you need to get up a tree, and, that needs to be an extension of your body at that point.
Second to nature.
Yeah,
definitely.
So that's where I am, is I'm trying to dial it in and get a system. But right now it's kind of trial and error. I'm learning. I'm looking. Last year you and I probably sent 30 videos.
Oh my gosh.
Whatever, back and forth, just on like, check this one out. Check this out. So
many. And that's the thing. Like, I think the biggest learning curve for me last year was just getting my system down. Mm-hmm. When you get to the tree, the base of the tree, what's your system?
Yeah.
Like, and I've totally changed it from last year than what it is this year. I'm using different sticks.
Yep.
I'm using different, like you said, rope mods. I'm using a different aider system.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I haven't even practiced with it yet.
Yeah.
I need to start practicing with it outside.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I'm using the Millennium M7. To me, the stand is unbelievable. I'm having a tough time trying to figure out how I want to put attach my sticks to the stand.
Mm-hmm.
I really need, that's my next big hurdle, is I got to try to figure that out.
Yeah.
So if anybody out there runs an M7 and sticks for mobile, shoot me some pictures or shoot me a DM or something and let me know how you're attaching everything to your stand. because then I need to try to figure out how to attach my pack to my stand. So
Yep.
I don't know.
It's all a process.
It
and
is.
That's
It
the
is a
fun part
process.
too, is learning it, and then, like you said, you got to have it down, and so yeah, we'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. If you
Yeah.
figure it out, you let me know.
Yeah,
And if people
exactly.
send you pictures, yeah, you better forward them to me. So.
I know it. I'm gonna do a lot more of it this year. Like I said, I mean, the 1 acre, all those stands are set. I mean, there's not a ton of options.
Mm-hmm.
There's options to where if I do see a deer scouting, like in season scouting, and I have to make a move, I've got my mobile set up,
Mm-hmm.
But my family farm, Big Woods, it's mobile.
Yep.
Like I'm not even gonna hang a stand up there probably this year. I say that and then I'll hang 2 or 3, but mobile most of the time.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Kind of going through my notes here. I guess in your eyes, like with the staying on the mobile hunting thing, what is the biggest benefit to you, and why to mobile hunt?
I'm gonna say, even if you're hunting on private land, kind of like I said before, is the opportunity to go in, the night of or something if you want to check out a new area, and that's your disturbance. You're not going in, making noise,
Yep.
putting up a tree stand, and then coming back in where you could potentially kick something. It is, you're walking in with it on your back. This is the area I want to check out. There's a good tree. Unclip your backpack at the bottom and get up and in, and you're ready to go. If it's public land too, it's like, I mean, the same thing. Where do you want to go? Because you can do it,
Right.
especially with these type of systems. Again, I have one of the old climbers too that up until this point, that's pretty much what I've been rocking. And you're walking on public, and you're like, nope, that tree has branches, can't get up past that, can't do that one, it's too crooked, can't whatever. But
you got to have a telephone pole.
yeah, these things, and like the advancement of climbing sticks that you can. I mean, I've seen some of the sets that you and Casey put up the last couple of years where it starts on this tree, it ends up on that tree over there, or the trunk that V's out this way and does 180 degrees around the tree to where the stand ends up. And that's, to me, also a huge benefit.
And that's where you killed Casper.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's like any tree is an option in almost any area.
Yeah.
And like I said, too, just they're so much smaller. I mean, I granted my climber is an old one, but it is a behemoth. And you walk in and it's clanking, and then you get there, you got to pull your plugs out, throw your thing around the tree, get it back in, snap it in, and then climbing a tree too. Like,
trying to be quiet.
You can say, I'm sure you'll have somebody that message you go, I'm really quiet in my climber, and it's like, good for you. I am not. I try to be, don't get me wrong, but something can happen. One of the mods I made on mine was just took parachute cord, probably about an 8-foot piece, and tied it from the top to the bottom, and that stays on there all the time.
Oh, yep.
Because I climbed all the way up, and it was actually on my property the first time I ever hunted it. I didn't have a stand hung, so I got in there, screwed in my bow rope, got up to the top, put my backpack, clipped it on, turned around and sat on that bar that goes around.
Yeah.
Took my feet out and reached like this and was screwing in my bow rope, and all of a sudden the bottom slid all the way to the bottom of the tree. So here I am sitting on the top bar of my climber. I am strapped into my, my safety harness and everything that's up on the tree above me, and I'm like, I look down and it's probably, 15 feet, 20 feet down below me. I have the top and I have my safety harness, and I'm like, so what are we doing here?
Just hanging out up there.
And I ended up grabbing my safety harness, clipping it below the bottom part or the top part, and like hugging the tree and shuffling all the way down to the bottom. And I got down to the bottom, put my feet back in, used a lineman's rope like a top portion, and climbed back up. But at least now with the rope, if that happens, it's only fallen 6 feet,
right,
and I'll just grab it and pull it back up. But yeah, I just like the ability that it's smaller, it's quieter, and there's so much more versatility, I think, in a mobile setup as opposed to anything else that's like a permanent set.
Yeah.
And you don't lose that much comfort anymore either in these things. Like, they've come a long way.
Millennium has the best seat system out there.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Honestly. I mean, that seat that they have it's second to none. It's the most comfortable seat there is.
Yeah. No, I mean, in everything too, like their turkey chairs, it's that seat system like you said too.
Yep.
So comfy.
Yeah, definitely. And so light. That M7 is literally, I want to say mine's 8 pounds dry, with nothing else on it.
Yep.
It's nice. I mobile hunted with it last year, and it's great. And even if like Casey and I if he's hunting and we want to go do a mobile setup or something like that, or if there's one stand hanging somewhere, we need to double it with a cameraman stand. M7, man, put it on and go.
Yep. Yep. So, and their brackets, like I'll say that too.
Their bracket
system that they have, where you could potentially leave your M7 at the bottom of the tree attached to a rope that's on your hip.
That's what I do when I'm hunting.
Yeah, and do all your steps, get all the way up, and you have a ratchet strap at that point that you're putting around the tree with that bracket.
Yep.
And you pull your stand up, drop it in, put the pin in, and you're hunting.
It's exactly what I do. Like last year, I had a removable aider, so I had I'd go up a step, I'd put an aider on, and then it's kind of hard to explain when you're listening, but when I'd go up the next step, I'd have to reach down and grab that aider and clip it on the next step up. So this year I'm putting aiders on each one of the steps, but when I'd get up there, I would take that bracket and I'd ratchet it down, get it in the bracket system. If you've never checked it out, everybody listening, go to Millennium's website and you'll see they have a female receiver that it comes with a ratchet on it, but I bought a cam buckle strap, you just pull like a pull tight strap, and I bought a $12 climbing.
It's like a mountaineering thing.
Yeah, it's like I can't remember what it's called now. It's like 6 inches maybe with a climbing carabiner on one end, and I made a mod to that to where it eliminated the ratchet strap, and I can still cinch it down real tight. But anyway, I'll get up there, put that in, cinch it in, and then I've got a bow rope hooked to my harness. I've actually got 2 bow ropes. One's got my bow on the one side. My other one's got the stand. I pull the stand up, lock it in, or clip it in, get up in the stand. I'm still attached, and usually I'll put my backpack. I'll take it off my stand when I get to the base of the tree, put it on my back, climb, do everything, get up there, put my bow hanger in, everything, and then pull my bow up and I'm hunting. Yep. That's kind of my system.
Yep.
I guess the biggest thing I'm changing this year is my sticks.
Yep.
My sticks and the rope mods. So.
Yeah. No, it's an ever evolving process, and if you think you got it down pat, then send Aaron a message.
Yes.
We would like to know.
Definitely. I'm kind of all out of questions. I think you might have had some. I thought you wouldn't tell me what they were.
Yeah, I actually wrote down a couple here because you said you were going to surprise me. So this is one that, while we're talking mobile hunting, I'm going to take it in a different direction, and I feel like it's been a trend over the past year or two. Neither of us have them. But what are your thoughts on mobile hunting rigs? And if you were going to have one, I guess describe it.
What do you mean, like a rig, like a
a van, a bus, a trailer? Do you want a camper? Would you
e-bike?
An e-bike?
I want an e-bike so bad.
Okay.
That's the only thing I want right now.
Okay.
And so if there's any e-bike companies out there listening, let's talk.
Yeah.
Let's talk. For the 1 acre especially. I mean, you've been there. Now that I'm going to be living on there, my property is ag fields all over. There's crops all over. I could take an e-bike and go down a bean row and not touch a bean.
Yep.
And I want an e-bike so bad.
Yeah.
So I'll be that guy.
Yeah.
I want one, and I don't want to pay for one. But I do want an e-bike. Last year I used my pedal bike a couple times up at my family farm, but it's
tough when you got all your stuff on.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, there's even like a little 5% grade. It feels like freaking a mountain. You know what I mean? You got to pedal.
Yeah.
But e-bike, that's what I want.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Do you have one?
I was thinking a different direction with it, but I think like I've done a lot of car camping and stuff like that where, set a blow up sleeping pad in the back of the.
Yeah.
I used to have a old Jeep Commander where I could lay down in the back, and I had a cooler and a bin, So eventually I think it would be really cool for out of state trips to, like we're talking it's mobile hunting where you have.
I want to convert a cargo trailer.
That's kind of what I was what I was asking is like, would it be a cargo trailer? Would it be a camper? Would it be whatever? And I do think that something like that would really be the ticket. And right now, I don't know if that would be a van, like a longer van where you could have everything in that, or if it would be best to have it be like a cargo trailer. You have your truck, you pull that, you drop it. And I've seen some really cool ones recently where people are, essentially you frame up whatever you want in like a snowmobile trailer. And you have like a livable camper, with a workbench at the front, and you have all that stuff. And I think that's super cool. And maybe you're building hooks and whatever to hold now your mobile, tree stand and all your gear and whatever, like one day.
I want a cargo trailer, and the reason why is because I can make it to where when I come back from that trip, all my hunting stuff can stay in there and locked. You know what I mean?
That's a good idea.
So it's like, it's also my hunting shed.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like if you want to store your stuff in there all year, like you could.
Yep.
Like that's my mobile rig. Like I want a cargo trailer so bad.
Yep.
My dad's got an old one that I've talked about like converting, but it's like for me to stand up in it, I'm not the tallest guy, but for me to stand up in it, like I kind of have to bend down a little bit. But I mean, realistically, how much are you using it? You're using it to sleep and kind of get out of the elements and so I want to do a cargo trailer.
Yeah. How big is the one that he has now? Because you don't want one too big, right?
I know.
Like if you're going to public land anywhere,
I want to say it's a 12-footer.
See, that'd be about perfect.
I want to say, but it doesn't have a door on the side. But you could always put a door on the side. It's got a door on the back.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to absolutely be positive that it was a van or in the back of like a pickup truck. Wanted to build some inserts and whatever, which still would be nice. It's probably more feasible for early on and easy to like make happen now. But the more that I do see like the cargo trailer, some people are buying those old like the almost circle or oval old campers.
Yep.
Those seem to be coming back too, or people are transforming.
Airstreams?
Yeah, like an Airstream type thing where people are transforming those into a hunting rig. I think Casey got one last year.
Oh, yes.
Like a little camper like that, that'd be perfect too. The only thing you ever worry about with some of those is clearance, but again, you beef them up a little bit and whatever. But that was my question, just because I see it as like a trend and everybody's starting to do it, and I'm like, I want to do it.
Yeah, definitely.
The other one here.
Yeah, but if anybody out there has an e-bike company and they're listening, I do have a good story running on our website and on our TV show, so you will get some love on an e-bike. So if you want to do a podcast, reach out to me. Or if anybody knows anybody, I'm looking for an e-bike.
Yep.
So
just looking for a connection.
Yep, all I want's a connection.
Just trying to make a friend.
Just looking for a friend.
Trying to make a friend. All right, this one is I don't think I've ever asked you before, and you gave me the caveat at the beginning that I could bounce any of these back, or you could decide not to answer them. But I have a question coming for a cameraman within the industry, and I want to know two things. What is your favorite thing about being a cameraman, and what is your least favorite thing about being a cameraman?
Oh my gosh. I've never been asked this before.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
What is my favorite thing about being a camera guy? Oh, man.
I know that Aaron is much more than just a camera guy.
There's a difference between a camera guy and a field producer.
Yeah, he's a producer. But for most people, if I just said, "What's your favorite part about being a field producer?"
People really wouldn't know what
People
that
wouldn't
is.
know what that is. So.
Man, favorite thing about it, I would say, so there's a lot of pressure on you, but it's like different pressure. Like, I like having, I don't know how I'd equate it to, like, we talked about the emotional attachment, and that's kind of like the pressure, of killing something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, now that I think about it, my favorite thing might be, it might be looking at a hunt through a different lens. No pun intended.
Mm-hmm.
When you're going in for a hunt and you're the hunter, you're thinking about things, you know what I mean, scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
I think about that as well, but I think about them differently as far as like, how am I going to position myself to win if a deer shows up here and I don't have to move because I don't want to get busted. Like approaching a hunt differently is kind of cool to me, I would
Mm-hmm.
say. And then in the same breath, I would say, bringing a story to life on just a mega giant, like, the majestic lion or Megatron,
Mm-hmm.
the deer that Casey killed in Illinois, the 18 days that we chased that deer,
Yeah.
like that was so cool.
Yeah.
And then Strong Arm was another, like when it all comes together, like, you set out a goal to kill a deer
Mm-hmm.
and you do it, you almost feel like you killed that deer.
Yep.
Like I've been fortunate enough to film a 208-inch mule deer die with a bow,
Yep.
183-inch whitetail, 175-inch whitetail, 166-inch whitetail, 163-inch whitetail, like in like a lot of kind of like in between. I've been fortunate enough to be able to do that. A moose in Saskatchewan. I've been over to New Zealand. I got to film a lot of like a tar and like
Mm-hmm.
a red stag. Like I don't know. It's just when everything comes together, that excitement is it's just as much as if I was killing it.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's probably my favorite thing. That's a long-winded answer of it.
No.
The worst thing. The worst thing.
Or your least favorite part.
The least favorite part. I know what I want to say. Carrying a camera.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie to you.
I was thinking the amount of gear. Yeah, carrying all that
I
gear.
love producing. I love filming.
Yeah.
But in the same breath, I hate it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want that to sound weird, but I love it, but I don't like it because I'm a hunter at my core too. I want to be hunting a lot.
Yeah.
But no, I shouldn't even say that. I don't hate it. But yes, the amount of gear that I have to take with me is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I have 3 lenses in my pack at all times.
Yeah.
Lenses.
Batteries.
Batteries. Batteries for, I have usually two cameras. I got a main and a secondary.
Yep.
I've got that camera in my pack. A lens on that. If that was to drop, you're going to break something. Like audio. Honestly, I shouldn't say I hate filming. I hate the setup stuff.
Yeah.
Like, let's just do it raw.
Mm-hmm.
Like there is time and a place to do the setup beauty stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And like, that doesn't excite me as much anymore. It's like, I just want the raw, like, let's
the hunt.
Let's capture it how it happens. Not that we don't do that, but there are some things you have to recreate as far as, okay, we just shot a deer. I wasn't able to get you to pull him back on it. Like, let's do the pullback. Let's do the clip and the release and all that stuff. Like, the somewhat of the producing can get monotonous. But yeah, I would probably say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you ask me tomorrow, it'll probably be something different. Yeah.
That's good. No, I just was curious about that because you've had plenty of time to, walk in those shoes and be put through just about everything. Like you said, you've done whitetail, tree stand. You've been in New Zealand. You've done a bunch of that stuff. So I'm sure that
I still have fun. Honestly, I really love to film in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
I really like. I don't really like sitting at a computer and editing, but I really like to edit. I like to bring it to life in post.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started my career, it was the exact opposite. Didn't really care to edit. Really wanted to film more. But now, I really like seeing it come to life. Playing with music, playing with sound effects, playing with like different, getting you when you're watching it to feel a different emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like doing that.
Yeah.
Like that's fun for me.
Yep.
So yeah, definitely.
I like sitting with somebody too. That's kind of
that
nice.
is fun.
I've
hunted with someone, majority of the time for the last 11 years, a lot. Like the only time I don't hunt with someone if I just go film myself out here in Michigan, and it might be 5, 6, 7 times a year. That's it, know. But other than that, I am with someone every time. It is fun, like breaking the action. It's like you're just bullshitting in the tree, whispering, and like, you're always playing around. Like last year, Casey and we always I always try to get Casey to kill the first 3-year-old that comes in, because he won't. And so last year I took it a step higher. We're in Ohio, and we're sitting on one of our food plots, and this stud of this deer wasn't a day over 3.5 years old. Like he was, I'm pretty sure he just left his mom. Yeah, but this deer is low to mid 140s.
Yeah.
Okay. And this deer comes out just asking for it. Okay. He's within bow range. I'm up over Casey's shoulder, okay, and Casey's just watching him. If you can picture me, like I'm a little higher than Casey, behind him. He's just watching me, just standing there.
Hands on his lap.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, he sees his bow come in his peripheral vision, and like it slides right in between him. I took his bow, grabbed it. He didn't see me grab it, and I swung it over in front of him, and I said, "Just touch it. Just touch it. Just take it." And he starts going, and he's trying not to laugh.
Yeah.
As this deer's at 30 yards, So it's those times that him and I have so much fun together that like the stories are endless.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, I'll never forget that. That was a good one.
Yeah.
I tried getting him to shoot that deer, but even the first deer of the year, if it's a 2.5-year-old, like 100-inch 8-pointer, case, just letting you know. My line is, this is my line. I go, if you were wondering, you can shoot this deer. Like it's okay with me. Yeah, I either say I'm on him or it's like, you got my blessing. And he does the. Like the laugh, like he doesn't want. It's funny, it's a lot of seriousness stuff, but you got to have that funny, break the monotony. It's just those little things. He does the same thing to me, and it's funny because when he filmed me for 7 days in Iowa, with the Hambino, it was like the roles reversed. I was stressed out because I was the hunter. He was back there just like, this is easy, and like. This I need to film more often, and I'm like, well, but no, I think being part of being like a cameraman, field producer, like if you have a main guy or girl that you film, like part of your role is being able to like be the positive, like be the person that's like the upbringing, not upbringing, but like uplifter, upbeat, like you're the person that needs to kind of like rally the troops sometimes, just because hunting, when you're doing it like we are, like I don't know how many days we're hunting a lot, it just becomes Groundhog's Day sometimes, and it's like you look for that little edge to like get you out of the element of like, okay, hey, let's go to the store, let's grab a Reese's Pieces cup and let's get a fountain drink, and it's like, let's get some comfort food and like let's get a like you kind of
crank some music and
we'll run country music most of the time, but then we'll break out like 50 Cent or T.I. or, go
Sure.
back to Tupac or, Baby Mama's a good song from, that's Biggie and all those guys, like Eazy-E, like you got to bring out those stuff.
Yeah.
So that's probably one of my favorite parts too, just those memories that you make. So
That's cool.
Yep.
That's cool. Well, you said you had like 15 questions for me, but
I did, but we're at an hour and 10 minutes.
oh wow, I better wrap this thing up.
And
then.
I don't want to get too far into it, so
Yeah.
no, I think this would be good.
Time flies on a podcast. I said
It
that
does.
to you today, and I never would have guessed we're an hour and 10 in.
It does, and you want me to build your bow, so we got to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's wrap it up. Appreciate you coming on, dude.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I think it was a good one. Hopefully everybody out there doesn't flop me like this. I'm not gonna listen to this guy again.
You'll know in the numbers. Help me, guys. Pump it up. Aaron will have me back. If
Pump
we're
me
up
up.
there.
Yeah. Well, guys, I do want to say before we get off here, thank you for all the support and all the downloads. It is greatly appreciated. And don't forget, go to iTunes, leave a 5-star rating, leave a review. That'd be also greatly appreciated. Thank you guys very much. And don't forget, we'll be right here next week on the Fall Podcast.